ayayere uyo uko kuno aho pano mamuona kere nai.
Right, 18 January 2022, and I'm joined by my usual guest on Tuesday, Dr. Feddious Mutenheri. How are you, Doc?
Gambakwe, it's always a pleasure having you here, and a very good evening to you and the viewers.
Fantastic. So I want to start by giving you a breakdown of what has happened since we last spoke last week. So firstly, a significant development is that Feddious Mutenheri, the spokesperson for MDC Alliance, has declared that the Chamisa's camp is going to use the name MDC Alliance in the upcoming elections, except if something else happens and Chamisa makes an announcement in between. I'm going to play you that clip very, very soon. Then there is my friend Tulani Ndebele. He has written to ZEC to say his party, the MDC Zimbabwe, is going to be contesting these by-elections, and they've given their list of names. So now we have MDC Alliance of Ngonzora, MDC Zimbabwe of Tulani Ndebele, and probably another MDC of Nelson Chamisa. Then thirdly, the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission has issued a statement. I haven't seen the actual original statement. I've seen the reports that there's going to be first come, first serve because they don't register political parties. So whoever comes and registers or gets nominated, that is the person that is going to use that name. ZEC does not interfere in the names of the political parties. Are you aware of these developments, Doc?
I have seen and followed all these developments you are talking about, which actually for me is just hot air, and you can definitely see who is the main actor here, who is the main player. There is spirited attempts to make sure that Nelson Chamisa's brand is somehow thrown into the mud, so that the presumption by those who are doing this is that probably the electorate is not aware of who they are going to vote for. And for some of us, we are patient because next week we shall see what happens.
Okay, what you want to say, Doc, is that next week, by Tuesday, Chamisa will have to make a statement to say what name is going to go into these by-elections. Is that correct, Doc?
That is, well, I wouldn't say that. What I actually am happy that the MDC Alliance, as led by Nelson Chamisa, have stuck to their guns that we are the MDC Alliance. In as much as Douglas Monzora has tried to drag ZEC and to make some comments for which ZEC really has no role there. And being fair, they do not have to pronounce themselves on anything because the law doesn't require them to do so. And Nelson Chamisa's party again has said that we are building the new. But whatever they mean by that, I think they have a strategy of what to do when the nomination time comes, and if at all, the ZEC, which has always been biased against them, tries to throw them into confusion. And I think it's something that we can appreciate, that their eyes are on the ball, and you can see people who have got a plan if anything, any of the shenanigans that are always associated with ZANU-PF and ZEC are to come into play.
Okay, let's go to Feddious Mutenheri. I want us to unpack what she's saying and then I want us to quickly wrap it up. So she had an interview yesterday with Larry, I think it's Larry Kurirai of ZFM, and I want us to unpack what she's saying, and this is going to be like a 1 minute clip.
You know, the name we have, it's just not even capable of dispute. It's the MDC Alliance. And you'll also see in terms of the Electoral Act, the law is very clear around symbols, how they're used, names, how those are used. It would be quite disingenuous, if not dishonest, of the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, having dealt with the MDC Alliance in the manner in which it did in 2018 to try and shift the goalposts. More fundamentally than that, the court judgment, which led to the false confusion. I say false because the people definitely know who their leaders are, was a case which didn't even involve the MDC Alliance. The MDC Alliance is a political party with its own constitution, its own rules and regulations as a matter of law. It's a universitas, a voluntary association. None of that can be disputed as a matter of law, that we're a political entity. There are even judgments at the High Court dealing with the Political Parties Finance Act, which recognize and acknowledge this fact. There's no running away from it. So until there's any change, we are the MDC Alliance. However, President Chamisa has said time and again that we are building the new. The MDC Alliance has consistently said that, you know, we are a people-driven party. Everything we do is pursuant to a widespread process of consultation. You know, and that process is underway at the moment. And, you know, the reason we are building the new is because we want to place before the nation a new great Zimbabwe vision, a new proposition, a new value proposition that is underpinned by values. We don't want to change, you know, the name on the basis or on the grounds of just a cosmetic shift or a superficial change. We want to ensure that we introduce a new way of doing politics where people are at the center. That's what I mean by our own terms. We're not going to be forced into a corner by people, you know, who are disingenuous and, you know, not completely honest in their deliberations. Just to give a small example, Larry, you saw last year we ran with the big idea of citizens converging for change. In no time, ZANU-PF had already run around to try and register that because they thought.
Right. Doc, I like the way that Fadzai unpegged this. But I feel that she's got a number of mistakes that she's making, specifically on the court judgments. She raised in this 1 to 2 minutes 3 court judgments that were already handed down, which she opposed. And then she raised the issue of ZEC, and then she raised the issue of consultations. So let's unpack that. Is it reasonable for Chamisa and the MDC Alliance to continue opposing court judgments that were already handed down? So that is the Supreme Court judgment, the judgment on the recalls, and the judgment on the money, the Political Finances Act money. Is it appropriate for Fadzai and Chamisa and all these guys to continue opposing these court judgments?
Well, I think, Gambakwe, you'll understand that what they are doing is simply disagreeing with those court judgments, and they are within their rights to do that. And because, as you remember, that from the first court judgment, which led to all these other judgments, the first court judgment, which is which we call the COVID judgment now, which tried to delegitimize Nelson Chamisa. That judgment was a moot judgment, as we all know, but it tried to repatch, you know, the MDCT of 2014, when it was already 2020, and it tried to move back in time. And there is no doubt that the judges dragged themselves into the mud there, because that court judgment has been criticized, and rightly so, by many constitutional lawyers and everyone, and has been seen to be quite a very weak judgment, which did not follow any jurisprudence in Zimbabwe. And all these other court judgments which came which supported the recalls and stuff like that, were carrying on from that observed illegality. And you can go to the writings of Dr. Alex Magaisa and others who have clearly laid out how unconstitutional those things were. And like I said, Fadzai Mahere and their party, they are within their right to disagree with those. But what they have not done is to stop their political activities, because the court does not have any right to stop the MDC alliance political activities. Remember, the MDC alliance led by Nelson Chamisa is the MDC alliance party, and the MDC alliance that Douglas Monzora purports now to lead is an alliance which we now know expired immediately after the election of 2018, because they did not win that election. And we now know that that alliance agreement only subsisted up until the election, and only after, if they had won and were in government, then it was going to proceed. So, in that very clip you played, Fadzai Mahere clearly is talking about how disingenuous everybody who is involved in this, the courts, Douglas Monzora and others are. They are so dishonest that they have contradicted themselves. You know very well how Douglas Monzora has come out before to say, we are now the MDC Alliance political party, and we did this to go around the legal hurdles that were to be involved if they were just going to get in as the MDC Alliance. And at some point again, when it suited himself, he decided to say, us as the MDCT, we are recalling all those MDC Alliance MPs who claim to belong to the MDC Alliance. What a contradiction. And imagine today, he is the same person again who is saying, we are the MDC Alliance and we are going to participate as the MDC Alliance. And he goes on to say, it would be an absurdity if we were to go in with another name, which is not MDC Alliance, because the same party will be called with different names. So what was he doing all along? They were doing things that just suited themselves and which are not based at law. And they got support. They got, the support from the ZANU-PF captured courts. And so, yes, indeed, Fadzai is within her right and to disagree with those court judgments.
Okay, personally, Doc, my view on this is that if I was Chamisa, I would change my approach to court judgments and also to ZEC, because those two institutions are critical going forward. They will never stop being critical in any election in Zimbabwe. I don't think that approach of being opposite to the courts and being opposite to ZEC is making sense. ZEC, I think they've done very well in the past. In the past few months, they've done very well. They've communicated clearly. They've done what is supposed to be done when it's supposed to be done. As for the courts, I don't think you can challenge courts in any country, especially the Constitutional Court, no matter you like the outcome or not. So in my view, I think they're making a mistake by continuously going against these court judgments and also against ZEC, instead of playing the political game with the politicians. I don't think that is necessary what they're doing, but that is just my opinion. Let's wrap up on the issue of consultation. When Mahere said they're consulting, is it not clear that every MDC Alliance member, feels that the name MDC is toxic? I just told you that Ndebele, my friend Tulan Ndebele, registered MDC Zimbabwe. Is it not that every MDC member, if you ask them now, they say, let's change the name? Why are they waiting so long? Who are they consulting at this particular point? And where are they consulting them?
Okay, firstly, let me just make brief comments on the last comment you made about when you were referring to what the MDC is doing, and not changing the name. I think when you're saying the ZEC is doing the right thing, I wonder which right thing, Gambakwe, you are referring to, that they have done right. Recently, they set the cat amongst the pigeons when they announced totally two different figures at two different times of how many people had been registered, and for others they feel that they had sort of suppressed the numbers for a clear reason, which might lead to irregularities in the next elections. And so I wonder what right thing they've done that you referred to, and look at how they have been stopping the registrations of new voters within a period of time of the holiday, where everybody expected that those who were coming from abroad or wherever would register, and they were stopping all those things. Whatever they've done is sort of goes in tandem with what ZANU-PF would want, but I will leave it there. And again, you make a comment that what about MDC, not seemingly not prepared. I think what the MDC is doing is trying to chart a democratic path, not necessarily a dishonest path. What you say, they are not playing the politics with the political players, but they are doing that. It is the institutions which are dragging themselves onto the political ring. But the MDC, one thing that they can be appreciated for is that they are playing the democratic game accordingly, and they are creating a culture which, when they get into government, we would want to see. But then I come to your question on consultation, Gambakwe. Your question probably is misguided in that it seems that there is a particular narrative that people are trying to create, that by now MDC Alliance should have announced a new name. Who said they should? Who said that they should announce the name now and not on nomination day? Their consultations are based on how they relate with their grassroots, and I think they should be led to follow those consultations and do whatever they have to do. Why everybody is focusing on Nelson Chamisa, I wonder why. It is because they know that he is the game in town. He is the main actor. He is the hope of many Zimbabweans. And therefore, media houses and everybody, even the supporters, let them give him an opportunity as a leader to make the decisions at the right time as they see things within, because they know what they are up against. And like we have already said, we know that by Tuesday next week or Wednesday, they will announce whatever they have to announce, how they are going to get into the by-election, what is going to happen. And I'm sure the electorate would know how to follow those instructions.
Okay, I think that's interesting. And what I will do is that, Doc, I'll try to get you back here as soon as the announcement is made. And if I have an opportunity, I'll try to be in Zimbabwe on the nomination day, which is on the 26th. That is Wednesday next week. I hope that I'll be able to make that time to be there. It's going to be very interesting as far as I'm concerned. Zimbabwean politics has never been at this particular point, because whatever decision is made here, it's going to affect the 2023 elections. And I think these by-elections are critical. I think Mutenheri herself, she said yesterday that these by-elections, they're almost a referendum of what is going to happen in 2023. And I think all the political parties, ZANU-PF, MDC Alliance, they're all looking forward to winning this, because if Chamisa loses here in these particular elections, it's going to be an indication that he's not going to do well in 2023. But if he wins here, he's going to silence a lot of people, because this is quite a significant chunk of MPs. I think it's almost like a third of all the MPs, or if not a sixth of all the MPs in Zimbabwe, if we're not talking about the councillors and all that.
Gambakwe, except if something happens. You know what is happening to the build-up of this election is the usual hot air that is blown by people who exactly know, and I'm sure Douglas Monzora knows very well that he's not going to do well. We have seen this. We have been here in 2008, remember, when the issue of the name seemed to be the topical issue, when Welshman Ncube had split from Morgan Tsvangirai. We went right close to the election with Morgan Tsvangirai trying to tussle the name MDC away from Welshman Ncube. And on the eve of the election, we were told that his party would be the MDCT. Morgan Tsvangirai went on to win that election, to beat ZANU-PF actually. And so what is happening to Nelson Chamisa right now? It's history repeating itself. And it will be actually interesting, even between you and me, talking about this. This hot air will be passed, and the people are going to decide who is the real opposition. We can talk in the media, people can talk under trees, in bars, and everywhere, and Douglas Monzora can boast of having a harvest house, being financed through the political finance, you know, those funds, and can be happy that the courts are on his side today. But I've told you that the political decisions of the day will be decided by the political court, and the political court is the election we are going to. And just give it a month and some few weeks, on the 26th of March, and I can today tell you, Gambakwe, I can predict for you that Douglas Monzora, ZANU-PF, will receive some good drubbing by Nelson Chamisa, and it will show to everyone in the world, actually expose who actually was the real opposition. Why was Chamisa under so much pressure from these organizations? So this is what and up until the election comes, you will see that all this talk will be obsolete. People will forget again that there was Douglas Monzora who pretended that he was the real opposition. Douglas Monzora who went on a rampage claiming what does not belong to himself. Everyone can see through his dishonesty. And if Gambakwe, you believe that people are going to vote for that dishonesty, then you can believe anything.
Personally, Doc, my belief is that if ZANU-PF gets people out, and I've said this whole week, if ZANU-PF gets their people out to vote, Chamisa is going to lose these elections. And you can mark my word on this one. If they can go onto the ground on the day of the election and make sure that every registered member of ZANU-PF has gone to vote, you will see what will happen. Because Chamisa is failing to get people out. You saw the voter registration campaign. They did their best, but people did not come out. You can blame Zek for it, but the truth is that people did not come out to register. And this is the same thing that is going to happen. If you look at the by-elections that have happened in the past, there are places where 40 people voted. And there's a place where I think MDC Alliance won by like 10 votes or something like that. So I think here the question is not about whether Chamisa is going to win or not. The question is about whether ZANU-PF does the right thing. I think this is a game for ZANU-PF to lose, not for Chamisa.
I think again that is also a dishonest analysis, Gambakwe, in that it fails to tell us why it is sometimes impossible for MDC to get their people out to vote. It ignores the electoral environment in which the MDC operates. I mean, we could point out those places by name where intimidation is the order of day, where chiefs, where headmen literally frog march their people and literally command them to who to vote for. That kind of analysis, which says if ZANU-PF brings its people out, as if we don't know what that means. What that means is that if ZANU-PF buses its people, you seem to try to reinvent ZANU-PF as a popular party and forget the historical environment in which the elections in Zimbabwe have been held. That the MDC today, if the playing field was to be leveled, who can defeat them? In fact, they have won most of the elections in the past, and now we know from the analysis we hear from Professor Jonathan Moyo and them, ZANU-PF, yes, we know because of its machinery, because it controls the state structures, it can bust people, and that is what you mean by bringing out people. But the MDC, when you say that they can't, we know very well that voters out there are being intimidated day in and day out. And so, Gambakwe, we need to pay attention to that.
Okay, Doc, I think this is a very, very interesting and very, very emotive topic. MDC Alliance youngsters, they are sleeping with their shoes on because of this name issue. This one, the pressure is not
I
on.
totally disagree. I totally disagree.
Yeah.
I think there is actually huge excitement. From what I feel, there is a huge excitement. Of course, some are pensive to know what is the leadership going to do, but that's what makes politics all the more exciting. And I think, speaking to all the supporters out there, they should be patient sometimes. They should be patient, and there's no one who should sleep with their shoes on, and decisions, and good decisions for that matter, I think would be handed out soon.
Okay, Doc, let's wrap this up. Is there anything else you want to say before we close?
All I want to just say is that people out there should go out in numbers and vote on the 26th of March. And to the MDC, I think they should keep up with the work they are doing, and make sure that come the 26th of January, they put smiles on the faces of all the multitudes of Zimbabweans who put their hopes on them.
Okay, I'm thinking I should put up a prize for anyone who is going to predict these elections correctly. So let's keep following this. This is going to be interesting, Doc, and we are all going to be sitting on the edge of our seats here, because I have a feeling that something very, very different is going to happen this time around.
Well, I mean, obviously something different is going to happen, and like my prediction, I've told you that there will be some huge drubbing of all pretenders, and some people will be sent to the dustbin of political history, and they will be like their predecessors. Obviously, Douglas Monzora, he has been walking in the very right steps of his predecessors, vis-a-vis, I mean, Bishop Abel Mzorewa. He is following exactly the script, and we know what happened to such people, and probably people are now going to see Douglas Monzora being buried, politically buried, actually.
Right. Thank you very much, Doc, and good night to everybody.
Good night. Gambakwe.
Ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 uyo, uko, kuno, abo.